Okay guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of the React Basics tutorial. If you were with me in part 1, we basically walked through a basic journal entry application, which I am showing right here. And what we're going to do now is the focus will be on styling our application using reactstrap and Bootstrap. So first thing I'm actually going to do is run npm start to get our server going. And I'll just open up our project in our default browser once again. I'll just take a few moments. And this is what we have so far. A very beautiful looking app. And the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to install the following by running, we're going to install reactstrap and Bootstrap by running the following. So npm install reactstrap, and Bootstrap. And we're installing those within our project, and that'll just take a few moments. So just while that's going, I'm just going to quickly show you the Bootstrap documentation. So there are dev docs for both Bootstrap and reactstrap, so if you are curious, you can definitely have a look. It kind of just walks you through the various style components that you can incorporate within your project. I do plan to do a Bootstrap tutorial at some point, so if you are curious, you can look out for that. And these are the reactstrap docs, very similar to the Bootstrap docs, however, very React specific. So we'll be incorporating both within our application. So I'm just going to minimize that. Okay, looks like we're good to go. I'm just going to bring that in a little bit. Okay, give us a little more room there. Okay, so we've got our dev server still going, and I'm going to get our application open in our browser. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do before we get started is we're going to want to make sure we go into our index.js file, and I'm actually going to do a bit of copy and paste here. So this is just taken from one of the React Bootstrap websites here. So I'm going to copy and paste this, and we're going to just paste this underneath our index CSS import, and then we can save that. So this gives us access to the Bootstrap library, and once we've done that, we're actually going to go into our form.js file, our form component, and we're going to import a few style components before we start incorporating them into our application. So the first thing is we're going to be importing button, form group, input, and label. And we'll import that from our reactstrap, and then we'll save that. Just going to move this over there. Okay, so you'll notice that a couple of our styles have already changed off the bat. This is just based off of Bootstrap now that we've incorporated it into our project. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move down to our form. So what you do see here is a set of basic HTML tags defining a basic form. What we're going to do is we're going to move into our form, and we're going to create a set of form group tags. So we're going to write it out the same way we wrote it out in the import statement. And I'm just going to take this closing tag and move it, just cut that out and move it down right under the input tag. So that's going to be our first form group. And then the second one will define our second label and input. So we're going to do capital FORM, capital GROUP. And then we'll take that out and move that down here. And then we save. And then the next thing we'll do is we're going to do a little bit more refactoring. So our label tags now are going to become capital L's. I'm just going to change those. We'll do that to all our label tags. And this is just importing those components from the reactstrap library. So once we save that, then we're going to move on to our input tags. So that's going to be a capital I for input and another capital I for input. And then we'll do the same thing with our button tags as well. And then you'll notice a few changes in our browser immediately here. So our inputs are now styled as per Bootstrap and reactstrap. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to change the color of this button. So we will change the color of our button to, let's see what color we can make it. Okay. And I'm also going to change the size of the button. So I'll just go to the end of this tag here, the end of our opening tag, and we'll go size equals large there. And then I will give it an additional block. Not black, block. That'll just span the entire container. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to navigate into our entries component, and we're going to do a little bit of refactoring. But first we're going to create our import statement once again. We're going to import our button. We're going to import a column, a row, and our container as well. And that's going to be coming from our reactstrap library. And then we're just going to go down here, and our div, we're actually just going to change that to a container with a capital C. And we'll do the same thing to our closing tag as well. And then underneath the container, we're going to add a row component. And I'm going to be taking all of this here. And then we're going to just make our button a capital B to match our components there. Just like that. And then the last thing we'll do here is just we'll add our column component. Oh, that has to be a closing tag there. And there we go. Alright, and just a couple other small things here. So before we continue, I just want to quickly test out the style of our entries container there. So I'm going to go back down, I'm going to go down here actually, or in our main app component, and I'm going to switch the order around a little bit because I think I prefer for the entries to be displaying underneath the form instead of above the form. So what we'll do is we'll take this form component and we'll move it underneath or above the entries. just like that. Save that, and there we go. So now that the entries will render underneath here instead. There's just a couple more things here that I would like to incorporate. So within our main app component, we're going to go down to this H1, and we're going to style that. So we're just going to include some inline styling here. And that's going to be style. And we use double curly braces when we're adding in styles within React. So I'm going to make that a padding bottom. And I'll give that 30 pixels. And then we'll go padding top as well. And I'll give that 10 pixels. And there we go. Instead, okay, and then within this div class name, I will also give that a name of container, just to kind of give us some space on the outside there. Let's see what we got here. Okay, and then there's just a couple more things I want to do, give us a little bit more to work with here. So within our entries component, we're just going to come up to the top here. And our entry body, I'm going to be adding a few more styles within our container. So I'm going to go to the end of the opening tag and we'll create a class name. Oops. I'm just going to add a few Bootstrap styles here. There we go. So you'll notice here there's just a little shadow around the box where our main entry will be shown. Our delete button renders here, and actually the delete button, I want to change the color of that. So I'm just going to insert a color here. You don't have to do this, but I think I prefer if the color were different. So we'll make that primary instead. Let's just see what that looks like. Okay, I think I like that better. Okay, so now there's probably just one more thing I want to put in here. So underneath the H2, I'm actually going to just put in some small tags, and within the small tags we will insert the date object. I believe that is the syntax for it. So that'll just render the live date for us. Just because it is a journal entry application, we'd like to incorporate the date in there somehow. So now we have that, and I'm actually going to take away this title that we were originally rendering, or instead, actually, I will change that up and we'll make that an H2. I'll make that my entries instead of what we have in the, let's see, can't quite remember where I placed that. Here. So what I'll do is I'll actually take that out because I only want to return one header there. So we'll keep that the way it is. What we can do is, yeah, perfect. Okay, so we're ready to test this application out now with our new set of styles. So So let's see if we can create something here. I'm going to say today is Tuesday, because today is in fact Tuesday. Okay. So we see here our full entry rendering with our title, our date, and our entry body, and our option to delete. There's one last thing I think I want to do with our main header here. I'm going to go into our app.js. I think that's where I had it, or there we go. Down here. Okay. So I'm actually going to just add some styling here as well, just to space that out. And you can do this if you choose to, or you can leave it the way it is, but I just like to have space around my text. So we'll give this 20 pixels, I guess, and we'll give it maybe padding bottom of 20 pixels. Okay, there we go. All right. It's always nice to just test things out to see how they all render. And there we are. So we have just completed the basic styling for our journal entry app, and if you want to actually open that up to see how it looks, there we go. And that completes the full tutorial. We've managed to build a simple journal entry application. We have managed to style our journal entry application using reactstrap and Bootstrap. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw those in the comment section. Be happy to answer anything you guys may be curious about. Look out for more tutorials similar to this one. I'll be focusing on React for a little bit and then moving on to some other things. If you have stuck with me to this point, I want to thank you for sticking around and hope to see you again.